Hi, I'm Harry and welcome to New Aurora TV. This is going to be the first video in a short series looking at my brand new Grand Cathay Army project. I've got 1,000 points to build and paint for the start of September. I've got the Old World Throne of Skulls doubles event. We're going to be having a quick chat about lists, quick look in the box, and then I'm going to pop together a test model and get a scheme nailed down. So, a couple of months back, tickets went up for the Throne of Skulls doubles event at Warhammer World. I've been to an event at Warhammer World before and absolutely loved it. I took my Warriors of Chaos. I think it was one of the first Old World events they did. And yeah, had a really good time. Always wanted to do a doubles Old World event. And when I saw these tickets come up, I thought, yeah, I've got to go. Now, the only issue is my doubles partner, he does not have an evil army, and I don't really have a good army either. I've got an Empire army, but unfortunately there's lots of non-Games Workshop models and bits in that. So I thought, why don't I pop together a Forces of Fantasy army? I looked at Wood Elves, I looked at Dwarves, but with my mate taking High Elves, I thought it's not quite gonna work. And then Cathay came along, and I thought, perfect. Amazing release, brand new models, it's going to be a joy to paint. Yeah, something a bit different, something not normally kind of my style. So I picked up the battalion box, picked up the rulebook obviously, and started having a little flick through at how I could put together 1,000 points. Traditionally, there's been a bit of an issue in the old world that these battalion boxes don't necessarily include the troops that you want. You know, I'm looking at the High Elf box and I'm looking at the Empire box and things. You know, units that you want in an army, but maybe for an event aren't necessarily the better pick, and especially for a Throne of Skulls event, where you know you want to be on the tighter end, the sharper end. Thankfully for Cathay, that doesn't seem the case. The battalion box has got some really nice options. From what I've seen the rules, and from what I've seen people that are out there playing games, these are some really great options. So we've got a nice big block of Jade Warriors. I think if you put a block together of 20 sword and shield guys, especially as they can be drilled, and especially now that new FAQ that's kind of given advantages to shields and fighting in extra ranks, I think that's going to work really well. And then they can have a couple of detachments of halberdiers, something that I love about the Empire, the regimental rules. So I'm really excited to see that in a Cathay list. So I think that's going to form the base core of my army. That's going to be my 30 models out of the box. And then I'm going to put all the Jade Lancers in one unit. I think that's going to be a really fun way to play them. Yeah, because they can fight in a couple extra an extra rank, I think, with their special spears and rules. So we can have a big unit of horses riding around, and then obviously 2 artillery pieces. And I think when you chuck in a few banners, that's about 900 points. So then I'll probably look at what kind of HQ I can just pop in, probably just a beat stick commander. And I'll let Giles deal with all the spells, all the wizards. So really nice that this battalion box seems to be an actual army, and what I mean by that is it's been a bit of a frustration of mine that a lot of old world armies, you don't see these big blocks of infantry and units of kind of cavalry flanking around in detachments, but it seems like they've made these new Jade Warriors, Jade Lancers, you know, they've got a few rules that kind of make them, make them a little bit better. So yeah, really excited by that, and really excited to see how they perform. So what's next is to get this stuff built and painted. I'm just going to start with a battalion box. I'm going to try and get it all built, all painted in the next couple of months, and then I'll probably kind of add an HQ on afterwards. I want a scheme that's going to be quite quick and easy to paint. I've got to get through this in a couple of months. Obviously September's looming, and I want it to look like a really nice unified together force, very similar to a lot of other armies I've done. But yeah, very excited to start building. So let's have a look at the box. So let's have a quick look at what we get in this box. We're getting 30 Jade Warriors, 10 of the Jade Lancer cavalry, and then we've got 2 artillery pieces, which is a really, really nice start. So usual stacks and stacks of sprues, bases, and icon instructions. Pick the first one up here, and this is your basic warrior sprue. There's 5 Jade Warriors on here with swords and shields. You get 10 head options per 5, and loads of little trinkets. I love this little kettle against that scabbard there. You've got a choice of the plumes, which fit nice on the heads. And yeah, lots of other nice things. One thing to note, which I did think was interesting, if you did want to use halberds, you obviously use the swords scabbards as they are, but if you want guys with hand weapons, you have to cut the handles off, which I thought was quite interesting. This is the command sprue, so you get 10 halberds on the command sprue, and the other sprues attached is just another warrior one. So you get 6 warrior sprues of 5 and 3 of these command sprues. So you can build them as 30 halberdiers or 30 sword and shield. Again, loads of really nice details. Another look at the warrior sprue, and another brilliant little kettle. So yeah, looking forward to cracking into this box. Lovely banner there as well. It's great to see that we're going towards flat plain banners. I'll have a look at the transfers later. Much prefer that over, you know, your moulded details you used to get a lot. That's the cavalry sprue. I mean, just look at the detail on the side of these. They're absolutely stunning. They're just going to paint themselves with washes and metallics. This is the Jade Lancers. Really, really cool spears there. They definitely look like cataphracts, which is good because I think they have a cataphract rule. Yeah, really heavily armoured, proper knights. Again, another brilliant banner there. Nice and flat for either a big old transfer, or you could have a go at some freehand. I won't be doing that, using some of the gorgeous transfers. So yeah, doesn't look like too many parts for these. Fairly straightforward builds. I'll get onto those a bit later. And then lastly, the artillery. So you've got 2 artillery pieces in the box. Each one can be built as either a rocket battery or a cannon. You've got the ogres on there as well. Yeah, really, really like the design of these. I think this is one of the bits of the box I'm most looking forward to putting together and painting, especially that ogre crew. And the general crew have got so much character to them as well. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And the transfer sheet. So I didn't realise this was something you're going to get in the box, but obviously it is. You've got loads and loads of little transfers. I'm still not entirely sure where they all go. On the box art, they show these ones kind of on their little sashes, which is quite interesting. I'm not sure I'll be using the smaller ones. I'll just be using these, the banners. So yeah, you've got two of each banner design, so you should have plenty of everything you want in the box. So now we're going to have a quick go at putting together one of these. I'm going to start with the command figure. I really enjoyed the Warhammer community article showing off all the different paint jobs. So yeah, just going to try and find all these numbers on the sprue. As with most of these modern kits, I don't know, I seem to struggle finding number 91 and 92, and you know, you'd expect the boot next to the torso to be the one for that, but it isn't always the case, so something to be aware of with these kits. But I had absolutely no issues putting this guy together. Just absolutely, you know, zero mould lines and whatnot. Yeah, really, really nice. So pretty much there with this guy now. I did find his little sash at the back a little bit fiddly, but yeah, no real issues building this guy. I did choose one of the helmeted heads rather than the special head, more because this is a test model. I also want it to kind of look like your standard infantryman. I wanted a helmet to paint and whatnot. just test fitting the plume. I did use super glue for this as well, just sometimes you want that instant hold. And then yeah, popped the head in, and that was the test model all built. So especially for fantasy, especially when you're just painting an army, I like to do the basing on the model. I know a lot of people have preference of painting models unbased, painting up bases and sticking them on, but just for simplicity I am going to do this base with the guy on, and this is my tried and tested super simple base recipe. So I chuck a couple of rocks on, as you can see, just a bit of super glue. I think they're just basic slate rocks, and then I use a texture paint. You can use any texture paint you want. I use this Vallejo one. I normally use a different one, but alas it has run out, so I'm going to use this one. I will make sure to keep using this one for this army. Just get a bit of consistency. It's got some nice twiggy bits in. I think this is the Vallejo diorama effects rather than the Vallejo textures. So yeah, I just kind of smush this about, give it a good good coverage, just to add a bit of texture. We're going to be painting over this, and then yeah, always make sure I just use a slightly damp finger just to wipe the rim so you don't have any kind of hanging over. And then we're going to drop in a little skull, I think. Onto painting then. I've given this chap a black spray. I use the Colour Forge black, really enjoy those. And then I've given it a white zenithal, just a simple top down, nothing too targeted, and that's going to give the base coat a bit of depth out of the box. So onto the base colour, I have used Army Painter Azure Magic. I've used the metallic air paint of this, thinned it down, and put this through the airbrush, quite a few layers, and it's got this really nice light blue kind of silvery effect. And then I have put in the shadows Vallejo Shifter's dark green tint, so you can just about see kind of in some of the shadows there that it's got a little bit of a green tinge to it. So, bit of a jump here as I forgot to press record, but you didn't miss too much. I've added on the base colours, painted up the base, and put on an oil wash. I've used raw umber on this, and I'll be tidying up a little bit, adding on some highlights, tidying up the face a little bit, and then the base will just simply get a layer of watered down pigment. And there we have it, my first Jade Warrior for my new Cathayan force. I'm pretty pleased. I think this guy fulfills everything that I wanted. I wanted a scheme that is easy to replicate and easy to get on the table, which I think this should be. It's, there's not too many colours involved, and I managed to get this guy done in an hour or so. Then it should look good en masse on the tabletop still. I did want some element of Jade Warrior in there, so I kept that blue Azure Magic colour. He's got a little green gem as well, and then a bit of a green tint in the shadows. I might go a little bit heavier than that on the rank and file, as now I've added the washes and a few details that's not quite come through. And other choices, I went for silver trim and grey, small clothes and straps. And then we've got a white accent colour. I wanted to keep it a cold palette. I didn't want to give this guy any browns or golds, because I think that would have really sucked a bit of life out of the blue. And I also wanted it fairly, I guess, monotone. I think going for a simpler scheme for Old World really helps define units, and especially once you do something like a nice big banner, it will make them look really nice en masse. I don't think you want too many pop colours and accents in there, as once they're on the movement tray they might look a little bit messy. So yeah, very pleased, and looking forward to getting cracking on the rest of them. So my first Jade Warrior finished. Very pleased and very excited to crack on with the rest of the box. That's all there is to it now. It's getting the models built, it's getting them, you know, all together and ready for painting. So I'm going to be beavering away, getting all these chaps built up, and then probably doing another update video in a couple weeks about where I'm at with the painting. So that's my first video on this new channel, New Aurora TV. For those that don't know me and haven't come from my Instagram, when I put this out, it's basically an offshoot of my New Aurora painting. In Instagram I've been running for quite a while. I've been sharing a lot of kind of finished articles on there, so I thought it'd be quite nice to do some videos to start talking about how I do these projects, how I paint them, the modelling involved, the planning involved, because I think that's a really important part of the hobby that isn't very often shared in great depth. So this first series on my Cathay project is going to run for a couple of months, and I've got a few other things I'm wanting to show. I've got a Necromunda playdate coming up soon, so we'll be painting up some squat prospectors. I might do a little video talking about the gang and talking about some ideas behind the lore of them. Heresy 3rd edition coming up soon, so I'm sure that there'll be some Heresy related content on here. I'd love to get the militia back out and kind of work that into the new 3rd edition rules. Then also historical wargaming and that kind of thing. I want this channel to be a bit of an outlet for that as well. Kind of behind the scenes, I'm busy away on some little historical projects. I'm currently working on some small scale American War of Independence for a Battle of Bunker Hill scenario. A bit of bolt action here and there, dabbled at some Napoleonics, and I've also been slowly working away at another small scale kind of Battle of Hastings project, which isn't something I've really been sharing on my Instagram because it's quite heresy focused. So again, that's something that I hope to share on this channel. So yeah, any questions or any feedback, please pop in the comments. Any feedback's crucial in these first few videos, so I'd be really keen to hear what you will think of this. But yeah, if you do like this and want to see more, do the usual things of liking and subscribing. It'll really help me out. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next one. So thank you very much, and see you later.